Now, so let's now see how the documents are structured. Right. So when it comes to document, I have divided a document into four parts. It's my I have for logical purpose for explaining it to you. I have divided it into the four parts. Part one is name of the document, place and the date, place of execution and date of execution. Have you got it? If you have got it, understood it, say yes in the chat box. So that I will go there. Okay, good. Document. Nilesh Gadge, just check your voice issues if it might be there. So first part is name, place and date. And in second part is a parties who are executing the document. The parties can be individual, a group of people, joint Hindu family, companies, partnership firms, or LLP. I'm going to elaborate each and every part of it, each and every part of it. We are going at a micro level and understanding how the document is drafted. So next part is actually main part of a document. Main part of a document, which comes recitals, clauses in the agreement, which will come as a recital, which will be introductory recital and narrative recitals. Operative clause. Operative clause comes the consideration part. Operative part means why the documents are executed. Miscellaneous clauses means notices, jurisdiction, sorry, here some mistake, jurisdiction, arbitration clause, etc. After that comes signature clause. So these are basically four parts of a document. Just hold on. Yeah, yeah. Just hold on. I'm just trying to work out, work out. I am extremely sorry. I think I went into mute without realizing it because I was showing here, it was showing the Zoom has crashed. Sorry, I will start from the beginning. The fourth screen. Third part, fourth part is signature clause of a document. So basically, I have structured this that a document has four parts. Number one is nomenclature, that is the name of the document, place of execution, and date. Number second part two is actual document, whole document. Sorry, number two is part is, number three is actual document, and fourth part is signature. Is it clear to you all? Say yes if it is clear in the chat box. Okay, thanks. Then let's move on. Now, part one. Just I forgot to inform you that this our seminar is partly co-sponsored by legalformatindia.com, which is also co-sponsoring this our program. And they have excellent format on their website. If you go there on their website, there are excellent formats which is available with them. It can be your base for drafting of your document. So I'm really thankful for them for coming forward and helping us to have this seminar organized. Thankful to them. Thank you, Legal Formats India. Just going further. Yes. So now coming to back the name of the document. The name of the document can be agreement, agreement for sale, deed of conveyance, indenture, deed of mortgage, lease deed, live and license agreement, development agreement, etc. Name of the document is nothing but an indication what is this document about. It is not whole and soul of everything. It's an indication. What is this document is about? Nothing else. So whenever you are drafting a document, you have to see as much as possible. It has to be with the object for which you are drafting a document. You have to name the document accordingly. like development agreement, it could be deed of conveyance, in deed of mortgage, etc. So now let's go to another part, which is before going to another part, let me tell you how this part one of the document will be seen. Part one will be seen as like this. Deed of conveyance is made and executed at Mumbai on this date in Christian year 2021. This is just a sample I have shown. I want to just explain you further what is the significance or importance of all those things. As explained to you already, deed of conveyance is a name which is given, so it will depend upon what kind of document it is. It's an indication of what is the object of document. Now, so normally I am talking after after name of the document, that is deed of conveyance, deed of mortgage, or whatever it is, you put place where it is executed. The place where it is executed is an important aspect of the document because it indicates where the document is executed. The place becomes important because if there is a dispute regarding the document, you have to, it will be the determining factor for jurisdiction of the court. If there is a dispute, the place where the document is executed will be considered as where part of cause of action has arisen. Therefore, place of document is important. So where it is written is normally, sorry, here it has come date. Where place is written normally after the name which is given to the document. So first comes a name of the document. Second comes the place where it is written. See, there are certain kinds of document. There are certain kinds of document which is called deed poll, which is in which date and place is normally written at the bottom. See, it is a normal practice to write a date at a particular place. There is no hard and fast rule. But you should know that date is one of the important factor which is required to be in your document. I will give a simple example which I encountered. A summary suit was filed in the Bombay High Court by bank. I don't want to name the bank which it was. It was a summary suit. So those who know about summary suit, you know what limitation a person has in a summary suit, what defendant has got a person. By mistake, the plaintiff had annexed a document on which date was blank. So that I didn't even have to argue or open my mouth to the court and leave was granted. So judge immediately realized something is wrong, something is missing. Because otherwise the suit was based on guarantee where there is an absolute chance that it will be summons for judgment would have been issued. So date becomes important part of a document. Sorry, place becomes okay. Sorry, I'm just sorry. So place becomes an important document, and next comes the date. Next comes the date. After writing place of execution, normally date of execution is written. Why is date important? Because it is a date on basis of which limitation period will start. Again, the date will also indication the date within which document has to be registered. A document has to be registered within 4 months if the document is mandatorily required to be registered. Even otherwise also, a document which is to be registered within 4 months plus additional 4 months is given, but that is a different consideration for that purpose. Otherwise, you are expected that within 4 months a document has to be registered. So for this purpose, one is for the period of limitation if whatever has to be done under the agreement, and for registration of a document, it becomes important the date which is put on the document. Normally, as I explained to you, normally date will be next to after the place of execution. So in the first part, it is the name of the document. Then second part is a place, and third is date. These are the three parts, three things which is covered. One is name, place, and the date. Name is always on the top. There is no doubt about it. But place and date can be at the different place, maybe at the bottom also, like in power of attorney, maybe in indemnity bond, it could be at the bottom also. We'll come to whenever we are dealing with the power of attorney or indemnity bond, we'll come to that also where date is there. Yes, Kusum, I will also explain what is deed poll. Just remind me later on. So now we have completed first part. Is it clear to everyone? If yes, kindly type S in the chat box. If you have understood first part, kindly put S in the chat box. Okay. Now let's proceed further. Now, next part. Yeah. As I told, some of the methods of writing date. These are some of method and indication how the dates are written. There is no hard and fast rule for this. Just these are indication. This is, I'll just read it out. This agreement made at Bombay on 15th day of February 2001, or it is written in the word also 15th day of February 2001. Similarly, sometime it is written deed of conveyance is made at Mumbai on 16th day of February in Christian year 2021. So there is various method. There is nothing called right or wrong, but you have to ensure that dates, place is mentioned in the document. There is no compromise on that. You have to write date, you have to write a place. Otherwise, when document is challenged or when you take any step for execution or enforcement of the document by filing of a suit, it will be in a suit. So you have to ensure these things come in the document. So now let's proceed further. So part 1 is now complete. How the document has to be there. These are basic things about the document. Now comes the part 2, which is very important, and I always find all mess is made here. All mess is made here. That is writing of name. So let's see how the names are written. See, names are in the parenthesis. See, when a documents are executed, documents are either executed individually or it could be executed jointly, 2-3 persons together. It could be by companies. It could be by partnership firms. It could be by LLP. It could be by trust. There are different parties, the cooperative society. There can be anything. So when it comes to this, you have to be very cautious how you write or describe them in the parenthesis. This first part, let's take an example of individuals. When you are describing as individual, Mr. XYZ, age is sometimes it's optional but not necessary. Residing at dash, that is required. Herein after referred as vendor, I am taken it as a vendor. Which expression shall, unless repugnant to the context or meaning thereof, be deemed to mean and include his heir, legal representative, executor, administrator, successor, and assign. See, understand here. When vendor is writing this, when it is a vendor, in the parenthesis, assign. Here, see, I have written it here. But when vendor is writing, when you are describing vendor, assign should not come. One of the most important factor when you write, assign should not be there when you are writing for vendor. Otherwise, if it's for purchaser, assign will come, and if it's a vendor, it will not come because he has nothing else left to assign. Is it clear to you, everyone? What is the distinction when parenthesis is written for a vendor and when it is written for the purchaser? If yes, please tell yes. If not understood, say not understood. I will explain again. Yes, anyone who has not understood how it is, what is the distinction between the assigned? Okay, Darshana, not an issue, not an issue. I will explain again. It's Darshana, I think Vijay Jadhav also not understood. Fine. Again, I will explain. See, you can see the screen. Just tell me yes if you can see the screen. Tell yes if you can. Yes. Okay. I will repeat it. Not an issue. I will repeat it. Not an issue. because that is what you have to learn. That is what you have come here for. That is what I wanted you to explain. These are the silly mistake or horrible mistake which everyone does. In the parentheses, you write, because when you are executing a document, everyone who are claiming a right through are bound by that document. So we always write. It's a practice that which also includes legal has, representative, executor, administrator, successor, and assign. So when assign means what happens is that when I have a certain right, I have assigned it to someone else. So that is even my assignees include. But when a vendor under a deed of conveyance is giving you a property, there is nothing left with him. So he can't have doesn't have anything to assign. So in the parenthesis, successor and assign should not be written when you are writing for vendor, because he has nothing to give. Everything he has already given. Is it clear, Darshana? Okay, thank you. So let's proceed further. Now, similarly, now it could be jointly. That is, more than one person are executing the document. So when more than one person are executing a document, in a parenthesis, instead of his hair, it will be their hairs. See, I have just written it in a capital letters. So that is the only difference which will come when it is, if more than one persons are there. So you have to ensure that these are the minor and silly mistake which is done, and often this is due to the ignorance. I will not blame anyone else, because it is you are not aware of, you are not ever told up, not everyone explains it to you. So this is the only change which will be required when it is more than one person are executing a document. So now let's go to next part, joint Hindu family. When a property is being conveyed or transferred, now I am just taking a broadly because it's a property which we are concerned. So when it's a property which is concerned, when it's a joint Hindu family, you have to make everyone as a party to the document. All members of joint Hindu family should be made as a party to the document. We don't know at what point of time who will come. When the minor is involved, normal course and a proper course is you require a permission from the court to sell minor's property. This topic is a long topic, whether the minor's property, minor's right can be sold or not, how it can be done. It is a separate topic in itself, which will take at least this whole lecture or 1 or 2 hours to take. I'm not talking right now on that. But when it is a document which is executed by the joint Hindu family, you have to make all members of the family as a party to the document. Though under the Hindu Succession Act, Karta has some right which he can exercise it, but I will not advise that you accept whatever Karta is given. But I am showing how it has to be executed. It will depend case to case purpose. Sometimes other family members are not cooperative. Then you take a decision on the basis of on the basis of situation. So is it clear that if there are joint Hindu family, how document is executed? If it's clear, please type yes, all of you, or else I will explain again. Kusum Saroke, I am not clear about your question. Okay. Now, when I found this is one of the issues where everyone comes with some different idea. When it comes to body corporate, it should be written as XYZ or ABCD company incorporated under Companies Act 1956 or 2013, or whether earlier or under whichever act the body corporate is formed. See, State Bank of India is formed under State Bank of India Act. I think it's a very, I don't remember when that act is. So, like it, in certain corporations are formed under a particular act, different acts. These corporations are separate. These corporations are separate legal entities. Like a human being, they are entitled to own a property. They are entitled to sue anyone. They are liable to be sued from third person against them. So it's like a living person, you can say. As per law is concerned, it's a living person, and separate from its constituent. That is separate from its shareholder. I hope someone of you might be remembering Solomon and Solomon case on the Companies Act. So company is a corporate entity, it's a separate entity altogether. So when it is a corporate entity, this is how it is written normal. This is the way how it should be written. XYZ company incorporated under whatever act it is. Now I have written here is the Companies Act 1956 or 2013, having its registered address at XYZ place, etc. Which expression shall, unless repugnant to the context or meaning thereof, be deemed to include its successor and assign. In some of the cases, I found that it is written as Mr. ABC, director of the company. It is totally wrong. ABC might be director of XYZ 10 companies. It doesn't make a difference. So this doesn't give an even indication that document is executed by the company. Sometimes it is written as XYZ Limited, a company incorporated under Companies Act 1956, 2013, through its director. That is also not required to be written. It is not required. Because company is a separate legal entity. It's a separate legal entity. So now when the issue of company as body corporate has come, the body corporate can be even Maharashtra Society under Maharashtra Cooperative Society Act. It's also a separate body corporation. But not, please understand this, but not societies which is formed under Society Registration Act 1860. Don't make that mistake that it is not a body corporate. Like trust is not a body corporate. Partnership firm is not a body corporate. They are not separate legal entity. I will come to that also when we discuss about societies and all those things. Now when it has come to body corporate, I will straight away take you to how the signature part will come when it is a body corporate. So let's go to that part before we come back to the other part later on. Is it clear when I explained about the body corporation? Body corp, please if yes, say yes, or I will explain again. Okay, Amol, no issue, no issue, no issue. Yeah, Siddhi, I will explain again. Yes, Kirandeep. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I will explain. See, body corporate is a separate entity. It's a legal entity. It's like you can consider as a living person. So body corporate executes a document. It can be sued. It can be a suit can be filed against a body corporate. Body corporate can file a suit. Like company can file a suit. A suit can be filed against the company. You don't have to make directors as a party to the suit which is filed. So when body corporate the company is made a party, you have to mention about only company. Nothing else through director is not required. It's not required. Because unless the director has authority, he can't be the executing of the document. So understand that body corporate is a separate distinct entity from its constituent, from its shareholder, from its director. And the biggest mistake most of us do is writing at the signature part. Darshana, can I go ahead? I think someone had Kusum, I think, had a issue that she had not understood. Purvi, again, I should explain. Okay, okay. So I will explain again about body corporate. I think I will again explain. No issues. If required, next time also I will explain. Once more, I will explain. Body corporate is separate entity. So document when executed by in the name of body corporate, a company's name should be mentioned, not its directors. Okay. So just keep it in mind when you are referring to company is like a human being, one separate person, and only its name should be mentioned. So I'll go ahead now. Those who are not followed can message me later on. I can be like, if required tomorrow, I will explain you again. Okay. Now, when company is signing a document, see, company is a entity understood in law, but company cannot sign the document. So the actual fact should be there as a resolution. There has to be a resolution for execution of documents. So when companies is a signatory, the proper method of writing is like this, which is displayed on the screen. Is common seal of the within name ABC Investment Limited, the vendor above name, here to affixed, pursuant to resolution of its board of directors passed in that behalf on dash. So what is required to be put is common seal of the company. I don't know if people remember there's round seal and that seal used to come. That is what expected when a company is executing the document. You are putting a seal. How? Because that is what decided in the board of directors meeting, or it could be also in general body of the company, depending on the case. So who are the witness for that board of directors resolution? Are managing directors, means any two directors. I have written here managing director and directors. So they are signing, not they are signing here as a witness. For what? Witness for the resolution which is passed. Am I clear? Have you got this? Is it clear? If clear, tell yes. If no, I will explain again. Yeah, I will explain. When the document is executed by company, company is a legal entity but not a human being. So company cannot sign it. So what company has to do? Company has to put it seal. That is what it is expected to be done. It is putting it seal. You will find that round seal with that this thing machine. So that is what it is to be put. When they can do it? When there is an authorization by the board of directors. In the board of directors meeting, there is a resolution. So what we are putting is resolution of its board of directors passed on that day, particular the day of the when the resolution is passed. So who are the witness for the resolution which was passed? Are its directors. I have written here two, managing director and directors. So they are witness for the resolution, not this document. Witness for this document will come in presence of, that is a separate issue. So here the managing directors are signing as a witness for the resolutions and the putting of the seal. Understand this. Is it clear? Can I proceed? If yes, say yes. If not, then I will explain again on next occasion. If you have any query, please you can raise that later. Okay. Now we'll go back. We have completed the parties. Now we covered first is individual. When there is a group more than two people's group of people, or then we covered company, that is a body corporate. Now we come to the partnership firm. This is a one more place I find invariably everyone making a mistake. Everyone means not everyone, I mean to say many of them. See, understand, partnership firm is not a separate legal entity, except for an income tax purpose, or if any other law purpose, if it is considered as legal entity, but in law otherwise it is not. Only for purpose of income tax, it is a separate legal entity. Otherwise, it is not a separate legal entity. understand that partnership firm is not legal entity. So you can't write or mention in that XYZ, measures X ABCD, a firm registered under the Partnership Act is totally wrong, and it will be certainly 100% wrong when you are writing about any transfer of property. Understand this. When you are writing about transfer of property, where the property is sold, particularly the partners doesn't have any implied right to sign on behalf of a firm to sell a property. So proper method is you have to make all parties, all partners as a party, all partners as a party, and then you can say carrying on business in the partnership in the name of ABC, a partnership firm registered under so and so. So the writing which is done that XYZ partnership firm is totally wrong writing. And if you are dealing in respect of any immovable property, no, then that is totally ruled out. But if you have something normal contract, if there is an implied authority under the deed of partnership, then yes, you can write it. But normally, no, you should not write it. It is totally illegal, improper. So when it comes to partnership form, the way it has to be described is Mr. A, B, C, all carrying business in name and style of firm ABC registered so and so so and so. Then also take note here how it is written in the parenthesis. Which expression shall, unless repugnant to the context or meaning thereof, be deemed to include partners. Partners for the time being of the said firm, survivors or survivor of them, and their heir executor administrator of last surviving partners there or is assigned. So what it is that all partners will be bound. You have made them as a parties, and even their legal heirs when it comes to that. Please, one more fact you should understand, remember is that partnership is constituted by a document. And if one of the partners dies, partnership is deemed to be have been dissolved. It's deemed to have been dissolved. I will tell you why. Invariably, you will find in a partnership document that if a partner dies, his legal heirs will become a party. Invariably, you will find. But understand this, that partnership is a creation of people. So legal heir, unless he joins, confirms deed of partnership, can't become a part of partnership firm. He cannot. And Partnership Act is clear on that aspect that once party dies, one of the partners dies, it is deemed to have been dissolved. So always remember in a partnership, first is that partnership is not a separate legal entity like the company. And secondly, it is the partner who constitute it, so they are required to be made as a party. Is it clear to everyone? If yes, say yes. If no, I will explain again. Rakesh, I have not understood your question. You can put later on in the chat. So this part is clear that partnership is not like a separate entity, and you making them as a party is not proper. Yeah, Hussein, I will again explain. When a partner, one of the partners dies, the partnership get dissolved automatically under the law. Unless a partnership is made by how? By execution of the document. When four people, two people, who are they come together, they sign terms and condition of the agreement how they want to conduct the business. So law what says, partnership act what it says, if one of the partners dead, it is automatically dissolved, deemed to be dissolved. So when one of the partners die, take an example out of that three people, one of the partner dies. In the deed it is written that his legal heirs should be admitted as a partner. They will be deemed to be taken as a partner. But how? Unless a further deed is made where they are admitted as a party, partnership has come to an end. So, when a person dies, unless a further documents are executed where legal heirs agrees to be bound by the terms and condition which is written in the partnership deed, the partnership doesn't survive. It is deemed to have been dissolved. Is it clear now or any further query? Can I proceed? Yeah. Can I proceed further? Yeah. Now when document is, it's already 7:38. Just a minute, let me check what all things I decided to do today. Can we take for further 15-20 minutes? Can I take? If yes, please type yes. Good. Thank you. I knew this could extend, so I told you earlier also. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes when it comes to at some point of time document is executed by power of attorney. When power of attorney is executing the document, this is an assignment for you. Assignment for you. When power of attorney is executed, which is the law which is applicable to you? Applicable to you. Whether power of attorney act, check up with the power of attorney act or check up with the contract act. Can anyone answer it right now? If someone can answer, please answer. Can someone volunteer and answer it? Anyone more? Abhijit, other than Abhijit, anyone else? Uh, how will Transfer of Property Act come into this? I'm asking it. Huh? I'm open. Yeah, Siddhi, right. You are which part of Indian Contract Act? Yes, Ruchi, you are right. Yes. Good. Okay, Jitendra. Okay. I got. Good. That nice to know that you people are thinking, and it's. I'm happy with that. It's good. Thumbs up. Good. See, power of attorney means what? He is representing someone else. So he is an agent of Rakhi Ubare. Why you get excited out of it? I am finding that you are again going out and joining. Okay, coming to the topic. When it comes to power of attorney, attorney holder is an agent of a known principal. So question of agency will come, I think, section 220 and all those sections around. So he is an agent of a known principal. So when power of attorney is executing a document, he is executing for the principal. So when you are describing him, it is like an individual person. I don't think Yogesh, not 182. You check. Anyhow, I don't want to digress from the topic right now. Yogesh checks the section. I think in 220 or 202 or something. I'm not exactly remembering. Yeah. We'll park it for later in discussion. So power of attorney is, sorry, 200 and odd section. So power of attorney is holder is not, he is just an agent. So you are describing only principle, but when you are writing in the signature clause, that time you have to write document is executed by power of attorney holder through its constituted attorney XYZ. So you are explaining that the document is executed through constituted attorney XYZ. You can also further mention appointed by power of attorney dated so and so. You can make the additional part also. But it is often with in the signature clause you have to put power of attorney document signed and delivered by within name vendor ABC through his constituted attorney. See, one more. Is it clear to everyone regarding power of attorney? Vijay. Okay, Vijay. Yeah. Okay. See, Vijay. Yeah, I will come. When a document is executed, you are executing a document for power of attorney holder. In that case, you are representing, you are acting as an agent. Power of attorney holder is an agent. And he is executing the document on behalf of someone else, that is a principal. So when document is executed by principal, you are not required to name that constituted attorney in the beginning of a document, but at the place where the signature is required when the power constituted attorney is executing his document, there you mention through is constituted attorney. In the top, when parties are mentioned, it is not required to be mentioned. And the bottom, when you are signing, that is where it is required to be mentioned. Is it clear now? Can I proceed further? So, in this part, what we have covered is that number one, first we covered how the part. First we covered parties, then the place of execution, then the date which has to be mentioned, and then how the parties should be described. And also then how, when signing of the document, how they are described. Now, I will just take one part of signatory part when it is executed by individual. That I have not taken it. It is simple written, signed and delivered by the within name vendor, Mr. ABC, in presence of XYZ. See, sometimes you find signed, sealed, and delivered. When it comes to individual, there is no question of sealed. No, you are not putting any seal. You are just signing it. So don't mix up with signed, sealed, and delivered. Right? In presence of XYZ. What does means? That there is a witness for the document. That means the document is executed in presence of witness. I have a questions for you all. Does all document, rather I will say which document requires witness? It's open question for all. Which document requires witness? Yes, one is will. Okay, this is going to be, yeah, Jitendra, right. Sale deed, no. Will and codicil is one and the same. See, my question is right, Purvi, you are right. Will give deed. See, my specific question is, again, check up with the law. This you can consider this as an assignment. Which document, now these are already come, will and give deed. Which document requires, what is this divorce decree, those? Kirandeep? I am not aware of any decree of divorce which requires, I am not aware, sorry to say that. Sorry, coming to the document. So this is one part, which document requires attestation. See, in the will it is very clearly mentioned, it has to be attested by two people. So which are other document? One, it has come as a gift deed. Just find out if any other document which requires signature. Check. Okay, one more question. No, I am asking, my question is this. Which document requires, the law says that has to be signed. Otherwise, the document itself becomes invalid document. For registration, at the time of registration, it is required. That is a separate topic altogether. That's a separate thing. But like a will unless it is attested by the two people, the will itself is invalid will. So other which document you find it out. Other thing which I want to ask you all is whether the conveyance deed also requires to be signed by the both parties. Is conveyance required to be signed by the both parties? Super Saraf Nadaf. Okay, no conveyance required, only to be signed by the vendor. Kusum Salauke. Good. I'm happy that some of you are really good that Kusum, can you tell why it is not required to be signed by the both the parties? हाँ, चलो. Ashwini, what is that power of attorney? What is the issue now, or it has the reply has come late? Okay. Conveyance normally was not required to be signed by the both the parties. Understand the word what I am using is it was normally not required to be signed by the both parties. Because what happens in conveyance, vendor gives the document or conveys the property to the purchaser. When he does it, when he has received entire consideration, that is the time he conveys the property. So that conveyance is what basically is a receipt of receiving this XYZ money and I am transferring my property to you, nothing else. So it was not required to be signed by the purchaser. Is it clear? Yes. Now, next question. That is in the normal course. That is in the normal course. But if in a conveyance where purchaser says that he is going to pay the money at a later date, or there is some covenant which is given by the purchaser. Purchaser says he is going to do XYZ thing, like he is going to give way of right or XYZ. That is the time conveyance ought to have been signed by the both the parties. I am talking of all those things till a particular, I think 2003 or 2005 something. But after 2005, understand, please take a note of everyone. Please take a note. There is an amendment to the Registration Act. Just a minute, I will just right now tell you. Section 23, I believe. section 23. I think. Yeah, sorry. Section 32A, compulsory affixing of photographs. So this amendment was somewhere in 36 in 2001. Technically, earlier conveyance deed was not required to be signed by the both the parties, but after amendment, it has to be mandatorily signed by the both the parties. So I think I will stop here today. I wanted to cover something more also, but as usual, there is time constraint. I can also understand. And sorry, there was some difficulty from my side. Here I was getting a report that Zoom is over this thing and all. I was getting some problem with that. But today I have covered one is how the parties should be there, what is how the name should be there, where the date should be there, normally written, and what is a deed poll. Deed poll is basically a document which closes the transaction, or you can say a document which completes the transaction, like a conveyance, or which is one side. So, and then I explain how the parties are to be described, how the signatures are to be signatures parties to be written. So at present I will stop here. If you have query on the chat, you can put, or you can post on the group also, and I will try and answer on the group also, so that it will help everyone who are taking part. And if you have anything else query about all those things, you can put on the group and I will answer it. Not an issue. Okay. So if okay, then shall we close or continue? I think we'll close. Okay. If yes, say yes in the chat box. Yes, sir. Close. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Okay. I will circulate this PowerPoint also by tomorrow morning. I will just check it once and I will circulate it. Okay. And one thing which I have requested, does anyone have any agreement to which is a live agreement? Because is basically is there any agreement which you are executing? And I can take that as a live example for this webinar, so that everyone is on the same page. And I would like to thank again legalformat.com for their valuable support which they have given for us, and due to which reason this webinar we are able to do it. So I am again thanking legalformatindia.com for the support which they have extended. All of you go onto their website, check what all formats are available, check what is available over there. So I am thankful for all of you for attending this session and patiently listening. And it showed that all of you are keenly interested in developing yourself and your knowledge, and which will go in a long way and help you in your legal profession. I am telling you, that's a good step you have taken. You showed your inclination to learn something far better, and I am 100% sure you will be doing something more than the rest of others. This is just a baby step which I am taking for this document, each subject, every subject, your minor parenthesis is important. Every subject is such a minor subject, even 2-3 hours for each subject will be less. I'm trying to just wind up and be brief with you. And thank you for all of your cooperation. Good night. Thank you. Bye. Good day. Good night. Bye.